YouTube, my name is Mesa and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Alright folks, I've got a jam-packed one for you guys today, and apologies for the vague title, but man, there's just too much to talk about in this video. In a nutshell, you're looking at the best and what I consider easiest loot farm in the game, and that's for everything, and we'll go over exactly what you could farm for. You're looking at Altars of Sorrow, and yes, I am playing solo. I pretty much have played every single run. I've got about, 15 runs recorded, all of me solo, and I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to do this event, how to do it solo, and the greatest thing about this is there is so much you can farm from this really fun event, and it's so addicting that every time, I tweeted out the other night that every time I think I'm done with a run, I'm like, all right, I'll do one more. And then you get a drop every time you complete this event while getting all this other stuff dropped throughout the event. And I just keep playing it over and over. So anyway, let's get into the video. But before that, if you enjoy this video, a like rating really does help me out. But what helps me out even more is if you hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. Altars of Sorrow is kind of like Escalation Protocol, except on steroids. It's a lot more fun. And it does have 3 pretty unique weapons, and we're going to go over the god rolls, or some of the rolls that you might be looking for. I've got a number of rolls to go through my inventory, and I'll show you some of them, but we'll go over what's available in the loot pool, and there are some curated versions. There's a sniper, there's a shotgun, and then also there's a rocket launcher. And the rocket launcher is pretty much the highest velocity rocket launcher in the game. And I know you're saying rocket launchers are terrible, no one uses them. I understand that. However, you guys know Bungie, when people start abusing a particular archetype, they then bring something back. And they did buff rocket launchers for PvE by 60 to 65%. However, they did nerf cluster bombs, or at least the damage from them, by 80%. However, this rocket launcher can roll with a combination that no other rocket launchers can roll with. The sniper also has some pretty unique rolls in it, and the shotgun is just a monster for PvE and also PvP. Now, when you played Escalation Protocol, there were 3 weapons, and when you killed the final boss, you prayed that you got the drop at the end. Not with Altars of Sorrow. At the end of every final boss kill, you are 100% guaranteed a drop of whatever it is that day, and it rotates every other day. It's not weekly. Like at the time of recording this video, the sniper is dropping. The day before that, it was the shotgun, which means the day after that, it's going to be the rocket launcher. And you can farm this over and over until you get the rolls you want, or if you want to get the curated version. And I got the curated sniper. So what are some of the things that you could farm for? First off, exotics. Playing this, I did get myself a couple of exotics. Were they ones I wanted? No, I got 1 armor piece and a couple of weapons. You can get oodles of prime engrams. You can also get tons and tons of candy, and also you can get chocolate strange coins. It's Festival of the Lost, so just make sure when you're playing this that you have your mask on. And don't worry, you don't have to pick up every piece of candy, because when you go back to orbit, it will be waiting for you in your postmaster. You can also farm this for just legendaries if you're looking for better stats on your armor. However, I do think the Vex Offensive would be better for that. You can also farm this for Glimmer if you pop one of those Rainmakers, if you have those consumables. You want to do this on all 3 characters if you plan on doing the dungeon every week, because you need to do a number of tiers for this one bounty from Eris Morn, where you get what's called the Hymn of Desecration, which will greatly increase the chance of a weapon drop from 2 of the encounters within the dungeon. Another really cool thing is if you're farming for weapons, or you want to craft some weapons from the good old lectern, well, one of the things you need to do is get kills, but you also need to get activity completions. Well, guess what? This counts as activity completions, and I'm pretty sure each tier counts as a percentage of that activity completion. I know that I crafted an Arc Logic, and I did 1 full run. The activity completion was done. Also, be smart. Grab bounties from Eva Levante, grab bounties from Banshee, grab bounties from Eris Morn, and yeah, there's lots of XP, so it's an XP farm as well. Before we go over all of the weapons and the different roles that you can get, let's talk about how to successfully complete this solo. First off, fly in and just start doing it, okay? If you don't see any Guardians and you fail, don't worry about it, okay? what I've been finding, or at least on PC, you guys sound off about Xbox and PlayStation 4, is people will eventually show up and you'll run into some fire teams. And then I've noticed also, and this has been happening nonstop, is once you get a good rhythm going, the people don't leave. Because remember, you get a drop every single time you complete it. So people don't want to leave. They want to stay and farm over and over and over. At least that's been my experience. Or if you're really impatient, just fly into the landing zone over and over until you find a bunch of guardians. Alright, so Altars of Sorrow. It's a number of tiers, and when you get to the final tier, you kill a boss. And it's usually a nightmare of like Fogoth, Taniks, etc. Now, there's going to be these little green blobs that you're going to see right there. Okay, that's where these things kick off. And when you go in there, well, you fly in there for the first time. If you're the only one, just go in and start it, okay? Eventually, people will show up, or just keep flying in. And then you're going to move from the next altar to the next altar. And that's basically how it is. And you're just killing nightmares and killing ads along with them. And I'm going to make some recommendations for supers. And yeah, don't do that. Don't try to go into the green blob unless you'll get bounced back and you'll take some damage. The only other unique mechanic besides just killing things is going to be you're going to have these wizards that have white shields, and they can only be taken down with swords. Once the shields come down, you can kill them with any type of weapon. When the nightmares actually die, they drop those essences that give you a little bit of a buff to damage. But let's talk about some different subclasses that I would recommend for this particular event. If you're a hunter, go Night Stalker top tree with Orpheus Rigs. You want to make as many tethers as possible. I think we've got one hunter here using the bottom tree, which I love for damage and everything, but usually these nightmares get wasted so quickly, especially if you're a divinity guy like I am, and pretty much, well, every time I run this, I'm divinity guy, and if you run into a session where two people are running divinity, you're going to be in for a really good time. And then, I would not stick with Blade Barrage or Arc Strider. Yeah, go at Night Stalker, top tree, Orpheus Rig. Make as many orbs as possible and keep those ads at bay, because you will get overrun, and there is a time limit. But the more you kill ads, it will add seconds on. Now, that only counts, or at least I've only seen it count, when you get to the final counter, and you will see that at the end of this video. And you're getting overrun by nightmares because the final boss will go immune. So sometimes you might need someone to just stand in front of the nightmare and just waste ads because you want to add seconds onto the timer. Early on when this first came out, I did run into once or twice the time limit going, and we failed the event. But it's kind of like Escalation Protocol, where if you fail the final boss, you just get set back one tier. You complete that tier, you're right back at the boss. For Titans, I would recommend Ward of Dawn, and Ward of Dawn. That's going to come in really handy for damage, for DPS on the final boss, but then also you could choose to run Helm of Saint 14 and put it in a good spot where all the ads are running out, and it will blind all of them. But when I was running on my Titan, I was running Doomfang Pauldrons. I love my Sentinel build, annotated on screen and linked to the description, where I would just melee. Well, the build is all about getting your super back, so I was getting bubble after bubble after bubble. So Titans, run Ward of Dawn, but you could choose to run Helm of Saint 14 or Doomfang Pauldrons. Warlocks, I would go the Well of Radiance with the exotic Phoenix Protocol, so everyone stands in your well and shoots ads, and you get your super back really, really quickly. And the key with all of this is to chain supers. That's what you guys want to do. Chain supers, and chain some more supers. You could go Nova Bomb if you want to take out a Nightmare quick. I did see a few Warlocks running. The Chaos Reach also comes in handy, but I would say more wells, more better. I know that doesn't make sense, but combining that with also Titan Ward of Dawns, I know the Titan Ward of Dawn will give you a 35% buff, but then the Well of Radiance will give you a 30% buff. I know the Titan Bubble will take precedent over the Well of Radiance, but the Well of Radiance is there more to keep you alive, or if a bubble is not available, to keep you alive, but then also to do some extra DPS. For weapons, I would recommend Divinity 100%, and I go with Machine Gun, and I go with a 450 round per minute auto rifle because I'm that guy. Divinity, you only really need one, although two I guess would make sense towards the end, because when you see the end of the video, when we face the final boss, what's going to happen is the boss spawns, and then he goes immune, and then a whole bunch of nightmares spawn, and you're all going to have to break off, and that's where multiple divinities come in. But for the most part, for the rest of the fights, you just need one divinity. I like to go with a heavy machine gun for clearing ads and also adding seconds onto the timer for the final fight, but then also for when we need to take out the knights with the that are going to give us our sword towards. They're usually surrounded by ads. Machine guns come in handy, but use grenade launchers too. They come in handy as well. Now let's get into the god rolls. So the Blasphemer is a kinetic shotgun with a base impact of 70. Now the base range is 62. However, mine, well, the 2 rolls that I settled on have 80 and 85. I don't have the greatest rolls on this thing. I want to do better. That's why I want to farm this thing. So the curated version is going to have opening shot. It's going to have quick draw. You could choose between accurized rounds, or you could choose between high caliber rounds, and it comes with hammer forged rifling. This is a precision frame shotgun. In the first 2 columns, you want to try to get yourself anything that's going to help you out with the range. Try to get accurized rounds. Now, this is a precision frame shotgun, so it's going to fire a single slug. So in the first set of traits, we've got Genesis, we've got quick draw, we've got auto-loading holster if you don't want to reload, we've got pulse monitor, we've got outlaw, and we have snapshot sights. I have pulse monitor on mine, and I kind of like it because sometimes when you're getting up and close in the face of enemies and you get critically wounded, well, it's going to reload the magazine for you. That comes in handy. Auto-loading holster I like too because I just fire off the rounds, stow it, and then it will reload itself. In the final column, we've got hip fire grip. I kind of feel like that always comes in handy on shotguns, but this is a slug shotgun, so you might want to think about something else. You've got Rampage. I like Rampage on anything. You've got Opening Shot, improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack. That might be good for PvP. You've got Triple Tap, and then you have Swashbuckler. That's another good one, and I have, one of my rolls has Swashbuckler. So this weapon gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon. Next up, we've got the Apostate. Now, this one I have the curated version and a number of other rolls, and you could get some nasty PvP rolls on this weapon. So this is a rapid fire frame sniper, so deeper ammo reserves, slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty, impact of 55, range of 42, handling is 69. Now this thing has a lot of aim assist, 73. I see a lot of my other snipers looking in my vault are in the 50s, maybe even 40s, sometimes 60s, but 73 base aim assist, and that's not with moving target or even target adjuster. So on the curated version, I've got rapid hit, which I think is kind of useless because this thing reloads really quickly already. Rapid precision hits temporarily increase stability and also reload speed. So, all right, I'll take the stability. It's got shield disorient. Energy matched shield explosion will disorient nearby combatants, and this thing is art. It's got accurized rounds, and it also has fluted barrels. So not bad, although I got a better roll, which you'll see in a second here. So let's go into the perks. So first off, obviously the first 2 columns try to give you anything that's going to give you some more range. I don't know, you might want stability depending on what's your flavor because this thing does fire very fast. You have Outlaw, you've got Moving Target, you've got Firmly Planted, you've got Shield Disorient, and you have Rangefinder. I'm going to show you this roll here right now. This is pretty nasty right here. Snapshot Sights and also Moving Target with accurized rounds. That's a nice roll right there. Yeah, I like that one. I'm using it in PvE right now. I haven't tried it in PvP, but I think it might be good in PvP. This thing is very, very snappy. But in that first column, I would say Moving Target, Firmly Planted, increases accuracy, stability, and handling when you're crouched. I don't really like that one. Shield Disorient, not crazy about that. Rangefinder, okay, that's not bad. In the final column, you got Snapshot Sights, Quick Draw, Rapid Hit, but then check it out, guys. You can get multi-kill clip on this thing. That's kind of interesting because, think about it. If you waste 3 just to rank and file enemies, you get multi-kill clip to stack times 3. You're doing 50% more damage. Then also, you can get boxed breathing on this thing, where aiming this weapon for a short time without firing will grant bonus damage and precision damage that resets after firing or extended zoom. But I really want to try to get, I guess my ideal, I'd say god roll would be, if I could get Moving Target from my terrible aim and also get multi-kill clip, I'd be pretty happy. But I do like the roll, well, the main roll that I got with Snapshot Sights and Moving Target, and I threw on I put on Major Spec. The rocket launcher is called the Heretic, and it has a really bizarre curated roll that I want to get, actually. So this one's an aggressive frame rocket launcher. Now the curated version comes with Demolitionist and Cluster Bombs, and you're probably wondering, why would you want Demolitionist and Cluster Bombs on this thing? First off, the velocity is ridiculous on this thing, and I like velocity when it comes to rocket launchers, and I know they're not meta right now, but who knows what's going to happen down the road. But think about it for now. This whole season's about grenades and oppressive darkness and void grenades, and if you look at all of my build guides, it's all about getting grenades back. And I'm thinking about it, man, if they ever start nerfing things and I get the curated version of this and I want to get more grenades, well, Demolitionist kills with this weapon will generate grenade energy. And then you have Cluster Bomb. You fire one rocket off into a whole bunch of rank and file enemies, you more than likely have your grenade back. And then it also has Black Powder, which is going to give you a bigger blast radius. And then you also could choose implosion rounds if you want. It comes with a volatile launch, and it comes with also quick launch. So in the first two columns, really just go with anything that suits your fancy, whether you like velocity or whether you like blast radius. But for the perks, you've got Demolitionist, you've got Snapshot Sights, you've got Threat Detector, and Rangefinder. I want to get Demolitionist on this thing and see what it does with cluster bombs. It has Kill Clip on it. That's an interesting one. I'd like to see what that's like when you get a rocket launcher kill and then you fire a rocket launcher that has, like, do we even have any rocket launchers that can roll with Kill Clip? I don't know. I've not used rocket launchers in, well, forever, and the only time I ever do is when I use my Braytech Osprey when it's like a Banshee Bounty or something like that. And you can also get Quick Draw on this thing, but I want to get the curated version with Demolitionist and Cluster Bomb. I think that's going to be interesting. So that's enough of me talking, guys. I'm going to let the rest of this run roll out so you can see the final boss fight, and it's not that bad when you have a whole bunch of people there. If you're in a fire team, yeah, it makes it easier, but you totally can spawn into this solo and people will join. Just start it up and people will start arriving, because I think more and more people are realizing this is an amazing farm and it is a lot of fun. As I mentioned before, when the final boss goes immune, well, numerous nightmares will spawn. Pro tip, do not go to face those other nightmares by yourself, okay? Just look where the other guardians are going and follow them so you can kill all the nightmares, because the timer will be running, and if you're seeing that the timer is going down too quickly or that there's not enough time, well, you know what? Don't go chase the nightmares. Stay in the front where the boss is, well, stay down by the stairs, and shoot as many ads as possible. Every time you kill an ad, it's going to add a second onto it. That's it, guys. Leave me a hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end. If you would like to further support this channel and become a channel member, click the link in the description or click join on screen if you're watching on a desktop. We've got an awesome community that we have over on Discord, and also a Mesa Army clan if you need one, just one of the bonuses. But yeah, I love hanging out with you guys on Discord, and we have a lot of LFGing going on. People are getting raids done. We're starting to Sherpa people through slowly but surely. Guardian of Salvation's a little bit of a tough one, but here's what you can see. I split off with that other guardian to take out that nightmare, and now we're going to move to the middle, kill a whole bunch of more nightmares, then lay into the boss, and yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later.